Welcome to the Deskbound Therapy Podcast, hosted by David London. David is a posture and mobility expert, yoga teacher, and certified online trainer. This podcast is about empowering desk-bound professionals, how to live their healthiest life, and move pain-free. Now, let's dive into this episode.
Discipline equals freedom.
100%. Welcome back to the Deskbound Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, David London. Thanks for tuning back into the show. Today, I'm with my buddy, Jon Vlahogiannakos. We are super pumped to be here. We've been in the fitness industry together for a while now. Jon's helped me build my business. He's also, we're from the same area, so it's good we actually haven't met in person, but we've been online friends for a while. And Jon is killing it, really helping, parents, quit yo-yo dieting, get back in shape. And I'm all about helping, young adults and parents move pain-free. So I thought this would be a great fit to come on. In a second, he's going to tell us a little about who he is, how he got started. And today we're going to be talking about how to avoid yo-yo dieting over the holidays, how to eat flexibly, and still enjoy your time with your loved ones, your family, and your friends. And I'm sure a lot of the principles will also apply to getting your mobility in during the holidays. So I'd love if you could just tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, for sure, man. First, thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a long time coming, I think, for the two of us to kind of get on here. So my journey to the fitness industry is not your typical one. Growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was an overweight kid. Greek family, we eat a lot of food. And I was a hockey player, but my performance was always, not where it should have been. I was always slower because I was heavier. Going into my teenage years, I had different trainers that helped me with my weight, with my eating. But what I found was a lot of the dieting back then I was doing was more restrictive. It was more, meal plan. You have to eat this 5 days a week. And then I would find on the weekends, I'd kind of just eat everything else. Everything I couldn't eat during the week, I was like, on the weekends, it was like awesome. Pizza and, pancake breakfast and all this stuff that, really held me back from obtaining the performance and the body composition goals that I really wanted for myself into my late teens and my early adult years. So it wasn't really, I took it upon my own hands to do a bunch of reading, do a bunch of, watch a bunch of videos, different things, and learning about nutrition and why restrictive dieting wasn't helping me. It was like a mindset thing, right? I didn't know about calories. I didn't know much about, have to hit certain proteins and how that helped. And it wasn't until I found kind of a flexible dieting strategy that I was like, wow, this is really easy to do compared to what I've been doing. So I was working at the Rogers Center at the time. I was mid-20s. I've gone through my own fitness transformation at this point, dropped 30 pounds, helped my brother do the same. A couple of my best friends do the same. And I became like the fitness guy at work. So people would come up to me, ask me questions about training, ask me questions about nutrition. I'd bring my dinners to work instead of eating the chicken wings and pizza and hot dogs all the time that were available to us. But once in a while I would have the chicken wings, and once in a while I would have some cookies left over, some cake or whatever it was. And, the people working there would ask me like, bro, like I thought you were, losing weight. Like, why are you eating that stuff? And I was like, I had to explain how flexible dieting worked. It's not one meal in isolation that's going to make the difference. There's no bad foods. There's no good foods necessarily. It's food. And how you play in your day will determine if you're going to lose weight, gain weight, or stay the same. So that was the game changer for me. Once I kind of got through, there was like one baseball season worth of just really helping people. I'm like, I'm going to do this for a living. Like I need to do this because I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people. And there's a ton of BS in the fitness industry revolving around dieting and weight loss. And I wanted to help people avoid the mistakes that I made when I was younger. So yeah, I got personal training back in 2016. As we were pregnant with our firstborn, I was like, I can't work on the floor forever. I want to own my own business. I want to have more time freedom. So Strong Jon Fitness was born 5 years ago in October, and it's been a ride ever since. I did a lot of in-person training. As of 2020, I was solely online. We moved up to Barrie from Toronto, and yeah, business is actually better than ever, which has been amazing. And I'm super grateful to have helped, over 100 people, lose body fat, feel good about themselves and stop kind of yo-yo dieting, as you put it.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like that you have a good background because you were in, flexible dieting right around, that's when it started to really get on the surface. Like people talked about it, like when I started working at like 2012, 2013, 14 area. but like I feel like that was really at its peak, was like the, right around 2015, 2016 is when it really started to get popular. But I feel like a lot of people didn't really understand the whole 80-20 rule, and they would think that they could just eat junk and lose weight. And yes, you can just eat junk and lose weight, but people miss the big picture that like you want to look good and feel better and get to your fitness goals, but you also want to focus on health. Like we're not anti-health here. Like flexible dieting, like just like John said, there's no good or bad foods. Like we're still pro health, but we're, I think there's different, I would say, cults of flexible dieting, but we kind of just want to avoid those overall and just try to understand the principles itself and how we can, use them in our everyday life.
100%. Yeah. And I think that you're exactly right. What happened was people were finding every little excuse and way to fit. And the popular food at the time was Pop-Tarts, which to me are completely overrated. How many Pop-Tarts can I fit today? And can I eat McDonald's and I can have this and and that's not what flexible dieting is about. Flexible dieting is more just, eating whole nutritious foods that had a face, foods that came out of the ground, the stuff on the outside of the grocery store. That's the majority of the diet still, but it's flexible where if you want to have a glass of wine with dinner, you can. If you want to go out for ice cream with your kids, you can. There's no guilt involved. There's no shame involved. And the understanding that that's not going to ruin your progress is one of the biggest mindset shifts I help people make, because a lot of parents have tried to diet before. They blame the pizza, they blame the wine, they blame the ice cream. So like, I just ruined my progress. I just ruined everything with this meal. Like I'll start on Monday. I have to start eating clean. I got to eat clean. I got to eat. And it's shifting that way. You know what? Like we just passed Halloween just passed. People had Halloween candy in the house. I'm not going to tell you are not allowed to eat them all, because everyone's going to say, well, screw you. I want to have a bunch of them and more. And then they lose control. So flexible dieting is killing that kind of restrictive dieting mindset and teaching people that they can control themselves, having some of the fun stuff, but still maintaining that health focused diet with whole foods.
Yeah, because I find too, like when you do go through that cycle, like I do love pizza, but I found that whenever I would go and order a pizza and eat the whole entire thing, then I would just kind of feel, kind of gross afterwards and be like, oh, I used to be in this pattern, like, oh, I'm never eating again. Because like I was always like, I was the type of person to want to, like, if I go to a restaurant, I'd want to get my money's worth and eat like everything on my plate, even if I wasn't hungry. But now I kind of like I've grown a lot since then, and I understand, like I've learned enough and been through those stomach cramps that it does taste good the next day, and it sometimes even tastes better knowing that you, like, for example, like I would eat all the sushi when we get takeout, but now I just leave 2 or 4 pieces in the fridge, and honestly it does taste just as good the next day, and you don't have to feel gross afterwards.
Yeah, it's a big shift for people. And I grew up having to clean my plate, and I think that's just maybe a generational thing. And even now, like I won't, if I'm eating out at a restaurant, I kind of make room in the calories for the full meal, because I typically want to eat the full meal. But my fullness meter depends on where I'm at and if I'm actually like full or not. If I'm paying attention to my meal, which with parents, again, sometimes you're not fully paying attention to what you're doing in the moment with your food, because maybe you have a baby who you have to feed at the same time. Maybe you have a toddler who's kind of tossing food around. Like there's other factors that come into play, but I totally get where you're coming from with like wanting to finish your meal, but to the point of stomach cramps is not usually worth it.
Yeah, I remember in high school, intermittent fasting just came out. It was 2011. No one really knew what it was. Me and my friends randomly decided to do it. And then we jumped on the 24, which is 20 hours fasting, 4 hours eating. And I would have like, my parents thought it was like crazy because like the guy's like, you're going to have stomach cramps for a month. And like I didn't stick with it more than a week, but like I would eat like 2,400 calories in like 4 hours.
Yeah, that sounds uncomfortable. Oh my god!
And then I'd have like freaking stomach cramps and like all the time, and it was just like it was crazy. But you really, when you get into fitness, like you'll believe anything that anyone tells you, and I think that's one of the issues. A lot of people try to do it on their own instead of trying to get a coach right away. Like I found like a lot of the mistakes I made have helped me become a better trainer and coach, but I wish I could have avoided them earlier on.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because like ton of dieting mistakes, ton of training mistakes on my end that I've made through my youth, but like would I be the same coach if I didn't go through those? You know what I mean? So I'm kind of grateful for the journey to this point, because I can sit and tell people like, look, I've gained weight when my wife is pregnant. I've done stupid training regimens. I've done stupid dieting regimens. Like I've been there, done that, except for keto. Keto is one thing I've never, ever tried and never will. And detoxes, I've never. So those two things lost me on those, but I love that I can help people from my experience avoid doing hours of cardio, trying to burn off a buffet or stuff like that.
So what are some of the other key principles of flexible dieting, and what are some of the other things that you mentioned, the keto, that you're against, and like where you're for?
Yeah. So, I mean, the introduction of a restrictive diet for most people usually ends up being cutting out starchy carbs. People say no bread, no rice, no pasta, no potatoes, but also goes into like the no quote unquote junk food, which would be like the fun stuff, the carb fats, ice cream, chips, cookies, donuts, all the stuff people love to snack on because, you know, it's designed to make you want more. Chocolate. Keto is something that to me was just ridiculous because there's no protein either. So for flexible dieting, your focus, and where I shift most people's focus on is making sure they're getting enough protein. It's one of the most overlooked, it's probably the most overlooked macronutrient, and arguably the most important for what people are trying to accomplish. Most women I work with, their moms, they're in their late 30s, early 40s. They haven't strength trained consistently for a long time, so they lack muscle mass. They also have a lifetime of doing too much cardio and not eating enough protein. This conjunction over years leads to a body composition they're not happy with. So what they truly want is to look toned, feel tighter, and protein and strength training are the missing ingredients there. So with flexible dieting, I really push a higher protein diet, but as well, you can still have your carbohydrates, still have your fats. But again, when most of your diet is with lean meats, let's say vegetables, fruits, and, you know, healthy carbohydrates, potatoes, rice, and stuff like that, and you're monitoring your portions, you will lose body fat. Like it's harder to overeat lean protein and veggies than it is to overeat McDonald's. Like I can eat 1,200 calories at McDonald's after this podcast and I'll be hungry an hour or two later. That's not helpful for a flexible diet. That's not helping you hit your protein for the day, feel full, feel energized, and vital with nutrients. So with flexible dieting, yes, it's about fitting the fun stuff, but the number one thing I focus on with people is having enough protein, because that's kind of like the key to all of it and making it work.
Yeah, and let's be real for a second. Like it's so hard to get protein when you're eating out. Like I went out the other day with a coworker and I ordered a chicken burrito bowl. There was like at most, being generous here, 2 ounces of chicken.
Oh.
I was so disappointed. It's just like extremely hard like to get protein. Like society's like, you know, people just want like you go to a Second Cup or coffee shop, it's like these little cookies and they'll have a smoothie and you pay $1 extra for like a quarter scoop of protein.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Just like like the whole paradigm shift. It's a big shift to make for people to start having, you know, more protein. And, you know, one thing that I do, like we can do it just to like, if I say like I have to go to the clinic, I have to, you know, be at work or be at the training some clients in person. Like what I do is even if I have no food like prepped in the fridge, I'll always bring a protein shake with me no matter what. And then if I'm going to get something out, I don't care if I'm spending $6, like I'll buy a protein bar, whatever it costs, like just because like that's going to keep me full, training my clients or teaching classes, etc. And I know like it might not be a meal, but at least it's going to hold me down. And it's going to help me hit my protein goals. Cause I find protein's the hardest to hit if you get to like 6 p.m. to dinner time and you have to hit 150 grams of protein. You've had none. Yeah. Good fucking luck. Like it's actually pretty hard. That's why like you want to be like the general rule of thumb is include protein with every meal. So if you're going to eat your carbs, have some proteins, some carbs and your fats together.
Yep.
That way it'll keep you full longer and it'll slow down digestion. But it's also just hard to get enough protein in. Like if you're going to just have some cereal, like you're not getting any protein, or for lunch, if you're just having a sandwich and you get it at Starbucks, it's gonna have like 2 slices of turkey. Like that's like 5-10 grams protein. Yeah. Even if you just have like 1 egg for breakfast, that's 7 grams. Like people need to like really prioritize getting in like lean meats throughout the day, you know, shakes, Greek yogurts, etc.
Yeah, and you hit the nail. You hit the nail on the head. The word prioritize, right? When it comes to people, as you said, we aren't really raised to think about eating protein first, right? And I tell all my clients, like, the star of your plate at every meal is protein. The carbs and the fats are the sideshow. They're not the main attraction. So it comes down to prioritizing and planning ahead. For breakfast, there's a variety of options people eat for breakfast. Eggs, egg whites, Greek yogurt is usually the main three. Smoothies. Okay. Very easy to get a lot of protein there, depending on your portion sizes. One egg is not enough protein, hands down. If you're not a big fan of having 3 eggs, that's fine. A nice big egg scramble, 1 or 2 eggs, and some liquid egg whites is a great way to pump up the protein. If you're having Greek yogurt, already there should be a higher protein count. I toss whey protein in my Greek yogurt every day. It's chocolatey, makes it taste good, and it adds another 20 to 30 grams to that yogurt bowl right there. So breakfast can be 50 grams of protein. Smoothies should always have 1 scoop of whey, 1 full scoop. And that's the thing with most people is if you're having cereal for breakfast, which I love cereal, don't get me wrong, all you got to do is mix in protein powder with your milk. All of a sudden, it becomes this protein cereal. You 20 grams of protein with the cereal, enjoying it, you can get on with your day, and you're not going to be as hungry after because you've added that protein component to the cereal, because protein is one of the most filling foods or macronutrients, and it takes longer to break down. I promise everybody that listens to this, like if you switched for 1 week to a higher protein diet and you were able to like almost double your intake, because most people could probably use that, you will not be as hungry every single day. I promise you that. If you're getting protein at breakfast and lunch, by dinner time, you're not going to be this like ravenous person that you normally would be. Also, as David alluded to, it's not going to be as hard to hit your protein target, because try having 150 grams of protein in 1 or 2 sittings. It's hard. I don't think you want to eat a pound of chicken breast every night to try to do that.
Yeah, don't be a clown like me, guys, and put creatine in your Greek yogurt. I tried that once. It was absolutely terrible, but I just finished the work at like 10 p.m. and I was trying to like not drink too much water so I could sleep, but don't do that. Definitely add protein in there. I tend to go for the lower fat, add some fruits, add a bit of honey to get some flavor, some cinnamon.
Yeah.
I find Greek yogurt's always pretty clutch. And then, honestly, it's pretty filling because I find it pretty mindful to eat yogurt, because you got to scoop it, you got to mix it, you kind of can play with your food. And I kind of like foods that keep me more engaged when I'm eating instead of, mindlessly eating. I find that super helpful.
I like that.
At the same time, too, though, like coming back to protein shakes, like people don't realize the cost kind of benefit to it. Because like it's, say you spend, $50 for, let's say, a 2-pound jar of protein. I'm not going to give a specific brand because everyone, it doesn't really matter what you're using, but that's cheaper than going to a restaurant, spending $26 on 1 chicken breast, right? Or, going to Starbucks and ordering 3 veggie egg white wraps for like $30. Like yeah. It's actually the most affordable way you can get more protein in, especially if you can't always, like, it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily need to eat meat 3 times a day. Like I probably have a bit at lunch and a bit at dinner, but when I first started working out, I would have like 3 chicken breasts a night, and it wasn't like, it's not sustainable, and you also get bored. And I find that one of the key things to flexible dieting is like changing up your sources, keeping things interesting, so you're not kind of just like, going through the motions.
Yeah, you hit a lot of good points there, and it's true. Like I think people they like meal plans because they're being told what to eat, but it's very repetitive. It's the same stuff over and over again. It's boring. And then after 2 weeks, you're sick of it. So having a variety of protein sources is a great idea, whether it's lean ground beef, ground turkey, chicken breast, chicken thighs, steaks, mix it up for yourself, because, either way, you're going to get some protein in. Just if you're going to go the red meat route, make sure the fat content isn't as high as the protein content. That's one tip. Which isn't as relevant now, but during barbecue season, a lot of people mess up and they get like super fatty burgers and wonder why they're having a hard time, getting their protein and losing weight. When it comes to protein shakes, and that's the thing, I think people it's still a misconception that like it's this like bodybuilding supplement, and it's not for everyone. The protein powder is especially whey protein isolate is one of the best dollar for dollar protein source you can ever have per serving. Like, even if you spent $75 on a 5-pound tub and there were 75 servings, it's $1 a serving. I don't think you're going to find that with chicken breast. Chicken breast is expensive, and meat prices are probably only going to go up. Protein powder is convenient. You can play around with it, toss it in yogurt, toss it in cereal, shakes, and you can flavor smoothies however you want to. My brother's like a pro at making protein pancakes, something I'm not very good at still. So you can play around with it. It doesn't always have to be the same mundane ice and water and powder. I have some fruit in there. I like to add like chocolate chips to my yogurt bowl. Just add some variety. And I think once you get around that kind of mindset of like, oh, protein is not for me, it's only for muscle building or whatever it is, own the convenience of it. You'll love it. You take it with you to go. If you're a person who's on the go all the time, you need to bring a shake with you. You can make it on the go, you can pre-make it, whatever it is. But like David said, it's easy. You're on the go. You don't have time to stop and eat. Drink a shake. It helps fill you up. You can move on with the rest of your workday and then eat a full meal when you get the chance.
Yeah, and I feel like we got to have these staples. Like if you're always spinning your wheels trying to figure out what you're going to eat on a day to day, like for me, it's about those staples, just like you said. Like that's why I always have the shake with me, even if I don't really want it. Like I know it's going to keep me satiating and make me feel good. And I find that too, especially with keeping things flexible. Like, you can change up your foods day to day, but it's good to have a structure in your head. I always tell my clients, like, open the fridge, see what veggies you have, grab every single veggie, cut a little bit of each, put it in with your eggs, take a protein source, whatever. Don't complicate things. Just start with, the protein and the veggies, and then everything else will kind of come together from there. Instead of try to thinking, in the big picture, just trying to have the staples you kind of always look for. Find the veggies that, not everyone can digest, green leafy veggies well, and not everyone can go for whey protein. So whether having like a plant-based protein, or you're kind of finding what your body digests the best, and that's kind of what you stick with. And that's kind of what helps you out. Because there's this good analogy I learned in my sports nutrition class at U of T. The prof was saying, protein is your house. It's your hair, it's your nails, it's your teeth, it's in your bones, it's in all the cells in your body. And you never want to sell your house. And that's why when people start dieting, they don't have enough protein. You're selling your house, you're losing your muscles, your hair is getting brittle, your skin's getting weaker, because you don't want to sell your house. Whereas protein's kind of like your house, it's like cash. And then, fats and dietary fat is like change. It's good, it's important. But carbs are like checks. Like they're inconvenient. It's inconvenient, like in the sense that like your body just uses that for energy, but it doesn't really help facilitate growth or anything in that regards. But like, having said that, like with protein being your house, it should be your priority. It's your foundation.
Yeah.
And then everything else kind of goes on top of that.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say the foundation. It's true, because when you can base your diet off of protein sources, and again, we're not telling you that you have to eat meat 4 to 6 times a day. You can if you want to, and I'm definitely a big fan of meat for sure. But when you can find other protein sources that you enjoy, having staple meals is the biggest difference maker. Like I know off the top of my head, there's 3 to 5 things that I could eat pretty much every day or rotate in and out, no problem. Whether it's an egg scramble or hard-boiled eggs, whether it's my Greek yogurt bowl or tossing whey protein in my cereal, protein shakes are always an easy go-to for me. Chicken on salads, steak on salads. Right now I have a big slab of pork souvlaki in my freezer. Shout out to my grandmother for that. So like there's always different things that I know I can jump to and cook if I need to. Salads are very easy. Mine are very simple, traditional Greek salads. Tomato, cucumber, onions, oregano, and feta cheese. Toss a meat on there, a nice hefty source of meats, 4 ounces, 6 ounces, 8 ounces. You have a complete filling meal, and you're going to feel great afterwards, because you're not just, ordering in because you don't want to put a salad together or anything like that. Like dinner takes 5 minutes to prep. The chicken's already cooked because I did my meal prep. The salad at the time, I have to cut a cucumber, a tomato, and onion. It doesn't take that much time. And I think people get bogged down, like you said, looking at the big picture, thinking, oh my God, like I have to change everything of what I'm eating and it's going to be so hard. It doesn't have to be that way. If you're going to spend 10 minutes looking up a menu on Uber Eats, you can spend 10 minutes cutting up a salad. If you're having a hard time choosing TV shows on Netflix, you can spend that time logging your food for the day. It's all about kind of where you make your decisions. And, leading into the holiday season, which is really hard for a lot of people, it's going to come down to some discipline and some different decision-making than most people are used to avoid gaining weight, unwanted weight during the holidays and trying to lose it again after in January.
Deskbound Therapy, David London, great resource and great strength and conditioning coach that I've been working with for over about 2 years now. Specifically, these last 3 months during quarantine have been some within our program. I've noticed a big difference in improvement in the biggest things that we switched up. Obviously, during these times, we don't have a gym access or weight room access at the moment. What we did these last couple months was a calisthenics-based program, body weight program, and we definitely increased the mobility aspect of training. And just with what we have done, I've noticed a lot more of it being more functional and transitional to whether it be baseball or whether it be just movement overall as a human being, to where I actually am considering being more calisthenic based going forward into our next phases in our program. The thing is also, the things I got out of being calisthenics based is that more body awareness, actually more muscular endurance. Noticed that my mobility actually increased, which was a weakness of mine, especially in my hips. And when it comes to just, I guess, throwing or pitching or, baseball in general, an example would be upper body. So I've transitioned to more like push-ups and pull-ups and dips and muscle-ups or, rows. I use the EQs by Libre Fitness. They're the EQ bars. I believe you've probably seen some in some of my posts. And I'm still able to get pulling movements in, pushing movements in. We've even done like a plyometric power phase with these type of workouts, and I'm not feeling so tight in my upper body, and that's not only due to calisthenics, that's also due to the shoulder mobility routine that he's put me through, my hip mobility routine he's put me through, and some of the videos that I have posted. A lot of people have been giving me feedback that my hip rotation is actually a lot better in my delivery than past months before. My hinge patterns have increased. So just wanted to let you know, there's more to come in this training phase and going forward. Not saying that I'm against weight training or we'll never go back to it, but definitely from what I've experienced these last 3 months, calisthenics is definitely made a big impact, and I do recommend in some shape or form that some athletes or fitness enthusiasts or people who train in general incorporate that into their training. So just want to give a shout out to David at Deskbound Therapy. Reach out to him if you're looking for a resource or wanting to get into some training. He's definitely somebody I recommend and I've trusted these past 2 years. Thank you.
Yeah, because like I get that the holiday season is really about spending time with the family, but I hate people having that excuses. I'm going on vacation, or I need a day off, or it's the holidays to say fuck and press the fuck it button. I wish I had like a fuck it button I could press. I saw that on another podcast, but yeah, like people are just looking for excuses, and I'm wondering if do you think that's because they don't really understand their goals enough, or they're not committed enough, or they're just they're in a rut?
Well, it's a combination of things. It's easier to not change your habits around the holidays, right? It's easy to not go and work out. It's easy to not make the time for things when you just want to sit back and relax. And I understand spending time with family, but at the same time, you have to take care of yourself, and gorging on every single food you have access to over the holidays is not taking care of yourself. It's not helpful. It's literally just you letting go, because you don't want to put in small amounts of effort in that moment. Perfect example. And for me, again, the holidays themselves are 1 day events, right? The holidays is 2 weeks, yes, but Christmas is 1 day. New Year's Day is 1 day. New Year's Eve is 1 day. It doesn't have to be this 2-week shit show of you just eating all the chocolate, never tracking the food, not eating any protein, not working out. It doesn't have to be this 2 weeks of like you doing nothing. You can still make great decisions where, okay, Christmas, you're going to overeat. That's fine. That's with holiday days, I'm okay with it, but you don't have to go crazy on Boxing Day. You don't have to, binge eat on Christmas Eve. You can still control everything. For myself, Christmas Day and New Year's Day, I know I'm eating a lot of food. I go to my grandmother's house. She cooks for a small army. I don't really eat breakfast that day because I know I'm going to eat probably up to 1,500 calories for lunch, and I'm full, and I'm 2,000 maybe, and I'll have some dessert later. But those days are the days where I'm just going to enjoy the family time. I'm going to enjoy the food because it's the holiday where people fall in line. It's like, okay, I think this year, December 20th is a Monday. All right, my holidays start. I'm off for 2 weeks, let's eat. And they start just ordering and eating and just whatever they can get their hands on. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, you're 10 pounds further back from where you want to be. And it's like you're starting fresh in January, where you could have put a little efforts each day to maintain your weight at least. And then in January, you just kind of pump up the intensity a little bit and you're back rolling into your progress.
Yeah, and I feel like it's tough because like society has taught us to go for that instant gratification instead of living in the land of moderation. And, it's okay to struggle from time to time and develop a better relationship with food, but it's just the way society is. Like, people will sometimes like, especially the family thing, like if you don't finish your plate, it's just less annoying for you to eat it all than to ask, are you going to finish your food? So like, it's also just good to have family and friends that are supportive of what you're doing and actually like share your goals with them and put them out into, into the universe.
That can help, depending on your family, I think. Like, my grandmother wouldn't take no for an answer in that respect.
Yeah,
she's older. That's fine. I get that. But like, I think sometimes with the holidays and families, I think people are, like you said, they're scared to kind of put stuff out there, or it's easier to just go with the flow rather than argue or be different at the time. And, everyone's going to be different. I'm of the argument of like, no one's going to take care of you but you. So at the end of the day, you have to decide what's best for you, not what's the least resistance right now. If someone wants to comment about you not going back for seconds, no, I appreciate your concern, but I'm full right now. I'm good.
100%.
You know what I mean? If they're going to push your buttons and be kind of a dick, just ignore them. Go to the other room. It's not worth your time. Like I've had family events where I'll straight up just leave the room because like I don't want to get into the discussion of keto diets and why potatoes are bad and this kind of shit, because it's not for me. It's not going to help me to argue with someone who's not going to want to listen to it anyway. So I'm just going to eat my food, enjoy the time, and just go on with my day at that point.
So I'm surprised we haven't gotten into it yet, but John, can you tell us how you eat donuts every day and stay shredded?
So, I mean, contrary to popular belief, I don't have them every day. They're more like a weekend thing.
Shout out to the donuts in the background.
Shout out to the donuts. Yeah, they got the stickers in the background. I mean, I love my donuts. I do. And we'll typically, so this year we've gotten donuts more frequently than normal because we have an amazing donut shop down the street from us. Shout out to Donuts. But yeah, it's usually like a once a week thing. And the best way to do it, and it's funny because I posted about this today on Instagram, is I'll hold myself accountable to them. Like I don't go and eat 6 of them, because 6 donuts at roughly 300 to 350 calories each is the majority of my calories for the day. So how am I going to hit my protein if I eat 6 donuts? If I have 1,800 calories of donuts out of 2,500 for the day, I'm not hitting my targets at all. So instead, I make sure I log probably 2 for me. 2 is, I'm being honest, 2 is is the right amount of donuts for me in one sitting. That's not a problem. 2 donuts runs about 600 calories. I'll log those. And then I'll work backwards from there. Okay, my donuts I usually have in the evening as a snack. Okay, what's my protein at dinner? What's my protein at lunch? What's my protein at breakfast? Am I having breakfast? Making sure my protein is set. So I know I can fit those donuts in. I know I'm hitting my protein for the day. And that way, if I have to fill in any other carbs and fats and snacks or whatever else, I'm good. But it starts with, like, if you're going out to eat or you're going out for a specific food, log that food first. Can you make it fit reasonably? And then go backwards from there. Where is your protein coming from for the rest of the day? Does it all work in the grand spectrum of the day? And you should be able to make stuff work like that. If your food of choice right now is like to go out and get a Dairy Queen Blizzard that's going to run you 1,200 calories, you're probably not going to make it fit in your calories or your protein. So maybe it's not the best choice. So then it comes down to things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I find too, like, especially with flexible dieting or just let's just say like, eating healthy in general, like if you wait till nighttime to try to see if something fits your goals, then more likely than not, it's not going to. Like you have to really plan ahead and be prepared, kind of thinking about what's going on in your day. That way you can come from a more empowered, proactive place than being reactive and be like, oh shoot, there's no chance I'm going to hit my protein or my calorie goal. I might as well go order takeout.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. I think that's when it comes to tracking food, I love being proactive, like getting ahead of it. Most people listening to this probably know what they're having for breakfast on a daily basis. You can very easily log it once, copy it across the entire week. It takes you less than 5 minutes, right? When you have that stuff going in there, you're subconsciously committing to your targets for the day. You're committing to good food choices. And then when it comes to the end of the day and you're like, oh, wow, I have 500 calories left. No, what do I want to treat myself to? Then you could go and do that, right? It's not like I'm going to do a whole day of eating and I'm going to go at the end of the day, track it all, and oh shit, I went over. And it happens every single day because you're not being proactive. If you have no idea what your numbers look like, you're going to have a hard time really hitting the numbers. And then you're stalling your progress, you're overeating consistently. And again, leading that into the holiday season, it just kind of gets worse from there.
Yeah, and it's a tough time of the holiday season too. But I think another thing too is just to keep yourself busy. Like especially people who are desk bound right now, mindless snacking is a huge problem, and I find it's a way that people can cope with stress. I was wondering what tips you have to avoid mindless eating and other strategies that we can kind of things that I guess proactive things people can do if they find themselves bored and just snacking during the holidays.
Yeah. So one of the things I love to do is just try to get more activity in, because when you're active, you're not going to be eating. So if your holiday season typically finds you on the couch for like 8 hours a day and you just want to eat, like a lot of people during COVID of the last year and a half, find activities that you enjoy, whether it's working out, stretching, yoga, walking, and do that stuff on a daily basis. Physical activity every day is going to help. Again, the time that you're out, you're not mindlessly eating. The other one is catching yourself in the moment and asking yourself, am I really hungry or am I just bored? And I love the like apple test where, if someone's hungry, they'll eat anything. They'll eat an apple, right? Most people don't crave apples, but if they won't eat that apple, they're not hungry. They're just craving a certain food, or they're craving the chocolates. You know what I mean? Like if you're hungry, you're going to eat whatever's in front of you because you're hungry, whether it's broccoli or whether it's an apple or a pizza. But if you won't eat that, like, less delicious food that's in front of you, you're just craving something else. So it's not hunger, it's boredom.
That's a truth bomb right there. Wow.
Yeah. Getting into your own head about, am I actually hungry or not, is a big one. And setting yourself up in your environment at home, especially if it's at home or at work, and at home you have more control, not leaving chocolate out, because the holidays, most people leave their chocolate out. Don't leave it out. Don't leave it out in plain sight. It's the same thing for Halloween. If you leave it out, every time you walk by, every time you look at it, I want some. Yeah, I'm going to grab some. I'll walk by, grab some. I'm guilty of it. I've done the exact same thing. Every Christmas, my picture a desk, it's covered in different Christmas chocolates. And I'm grateful for the gifts and stuff like that, but it makes sticking to calories extremely hard. If I keep it all on the counter, oh, there's Reese trees. Oh, there's, Lindor balls. Oh, there's these cookies. And all of a sudden I've had 1,000 calories worth of just chocolate and cookies without even blinking, because it's mindless. So set up your environment, put the delicious stuff away in the cupboards, put it up in the higher cupboards, put it in the lower cupboards, somewhere where you have to actually put in some effort to get to it. Because if it's just sitting there, it's easy to reach, it's easy to overeat, and then all of a sudden it's mindless eating. Just like if you open up a bag of chips and eat out of the bag, it's the same thing. You'll finish the bag, most people. That's the biggest tips I can give for that.
Yeah, and it's really true. Having these strategies will help it become more of a lifestyle transition for you. Like you want to set up your success kind of going into the holidays. And I think staying active is a huge one, because like, yes, it can be a vacation, but if you truly love training and love exercising, then you shouldn't need necessarily that vacation from it. You should just find different ways to, modify your training or go for walks or stay active. And maybe different ways you can do that and still engage. Like you don't need to spend the whole 2 weeks like with your family. You can take an hour off to go get some activity.
Yeah. And any parents listening to this, if there's daycare services on your vacation, like take advantage and take some time for yourself, because you'll need the de-stress anyways. And I think that's the thing, Dave, you said, like, it's a lifestyle. So if you want to be a healthy, active person with a healthier lifestyle, you want to be leaner, toned, tighter, whatever, you need to incorporate movement on a daily basis. A step count for me is very easy right now. I have to walk my dog in the morning, walk my son to school to and from sometimes. And then after dinner, we take a family walk. And other families in the neighborhood are like, wow, you guys are walking again. And we're like, yeah, like this is just what we do because it's healthy. Like walking is one of the best things you can do. And this is the lifestyle that we're trying to create for our family, where, there's really no excuse for us to go do a lap around the block and take a 30-minute walk with each other. Like, so if you're on vacation, 30 minutes of a vacation doesn't mean you're losing out on your vacation because you're going for a workout or you're going to walk. You're literally just keeping that healthy, active lifestyle even on vacation, because you don't get a vacation from your body. You get a vacation from the work stresses and maybe other stuff, but your body's still there. The calories are still counting. Your activity levels are still counting.
That's a really good quote. I like that a lot.
You know what I mean? So that's the one thing people mess out on. If they go to vacation, they just lay there the whole time and they'll drink and they'll eat and they'll drink and they won't do anything. And that's causing more harm than it's not helping as much as people think it is. Maybe it's helping initially to just lay there and do nothing, but the less active you are, the less, the less healthy, the happy hormones you get, you don't feel that good about yourself after. So you come back from vacation in this like lazy mindset, and then it's harder to start working out again because you haven't been doing it for 2 weeks.
Wow. So I really like that quote. You can't take a vacation from your body. That's
that one.
That's a good one for sure. What are some other different like things you recommend or that you do with your clients in terms of like training? Like how do you help, busy people with busy schedules, get their workouts in? Because I know for me, I've changed up my online mobility program, and I've made people like 10 to 15 minutes twice a day, giving them a flexible schedule to get their mobility in, because I know people don't have an hour to do yoga or 30 minutes, in the morning to stretch and do mobility.
Yeah. It depends on the person. So with every client, we work together to see kind of what their day looks like on average. And we try to pick times of the week where they know they're most likely to get a workout in, whether the workout's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or I've done in cases where it's like 10 minutes a day for 6 days in a row, because that's literally all she could do. So again, it depends on the person, but I'm always in communication with them, asking, like, I'll ask them, this week, what days are you working out? What times? I want to hold you accountable to it. And I'll always get feedback from them if it's too long, if they feel like it's too short, and we'll tweak things as we go. But I think that's the benefit of having a coach, is being able to tweak things for you, supporting you through it, helping you overcome obstacles and stuff like that. Because time management can be tough, but I feel like most people don't know how much time they're actually spending on everything they do. Time audits are a very, very powerful thing. If you can be honest with yourself and be like, look, I spent 5 hours on my phone today, and I spent 2 hours commuting, and I spent an hour and a half meal prepping, but I was doing this instead. And yeah, I was working for 8 hours, but I was on my email for 4 of them. There's different things like that. Like if people can look at their day and be like, I do have 30 minutes at 7:30 in the morning because there's a bit of a lull, or 2:30 in the afternoon because that's the time when my work is kind of slow and I can go pick up the kids right after, or whatever it is. So finding times in your day that are least resistant, instead of forcing, I have to do it at 6 p.m. every day, then it gets a little bit ridiculous and they're not going to stick to it. And then they just get frustrated and give up.
Yeah, I find it quite hard to, like, if you're working that 9 to 5, or you're still at home and you got stuff going on. I find it hard to get to even just like find time. Like for some people, like right now I'm on my placement at school at the physio clinic, and I gotta be there for 7:30 for my first patient. So it's been a real struggle for me to even go for a morning walk or to do mobility, because I'm not trying to wake up at 5 a.m. or to go to bed at 9 p.m. Like I gotta do, I got stuff to do, and clients to take care of. So like the way society's set up, it's like work, eat like crap, wake up the next day and go through this constant cycle, instead of maybe people, like, I personally feel like we shouldn't be working 8 hours a day. Like we're not on this earth to work. Like we're here to move our bodies, to feel good, to reach our goals in life. Like your life is more than working, but like our whole society views us just working and grinding it out in the office, but it doesn't give us that grit when it comes to training or just like getting movement in. Like if you work 9 to 5 and you commute 2 hours a day, like it's freaking tough even to just find the time to walk.
Yeah. Have you read Deep Work by Cal Newport?
I don't believe so.
That book is amazing. And he talks about, the work days are 8 hours, but people aren't working for 8 hours
No,
straight.
definitely not.
That's the problem, I think, with, like you said, as society and things are built, the actual work being done in an 8 hour workday is 4 hours or less.
100%.
But
4 hour work week.
You know what I mean? There's emails, there's conversations, there's lunch breaks, there's this and that. It's never people like heads down working straight consecutive for 8 hours. There's a lot of, responding to emails, as he put it, was one of the biggest time wasters for most people, because if they're doing work, then they're getting email. Then they have to respond to email, stop the work, go back to the work, respond to more. And it becomes this thing of like, all of a sudden, what only should take 4 hours a day of focused work becomes this like 8 or 10 hour day. People have to take their work home. And that's a completely other subject. Like it just makes everything harder. And if people don't know how to disconnect work from home, and then fitness falls in the back burner, and like you said, just becomes this like struggle cycle of people just getting fat essentially and just unhealthy overall.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like you do have, and I know you follow Ryan Holiday as well, so you're kind of aware of a lot of these mindset things and like focusing more on what you can control in terms of that. And just like you said, like you can go out and find time to take a walk. Because really, we're not even like myself. Like today, I'm just it's Remembrance Day here, and I have the day off at the physio clinic, and I realized I was like I'm gonna be so productive all day, but really I've been like struggling to keep myself busy. Luckily, I got some podcasts and stuff on my schedule. But we can't as humans, like unless you're in your first year undergrad and you're 18 and you just you're excited about university and you're in the library studying all day, then you can maybe for a short period of your life study for 8 hours at a time. But even like most people can't sit down for that long, even be productive, nor is it healthy, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not good for your heart, it's not good for your muscles, it's not good for your joints. Like the key is to keep moving. Like we can't focus for that long for our own survival. Like it's not good.
No.
You're gonna injure yourself.
Yeah, it's in that, and that's he loses that in the book as well. Is like your brain literally can't get into that focus work for that long. It's impossible. You need breaks, movement breaks, whatever it is, and you can't be expected to produce high quality work for 8 hours straight. It's impossible.
And it's true. And even like myself, like I planned breaks. Like after we're done, I went for a walk as soon as I woke up. Then after we're done here, I'm gonna go for another walk. Then I'm gonna have another episode recording. Then I'm gonna meet my friend and we're gonna work out. So I like to space it out throughout the day. Like instead of going for like I find an hour, 2 hour walks pretty tiring. So spacing that out throughout the day, even if it's like cold in the winter, like I still want to get my steps in because I find like, especially with we just had these time changes now, and like you get home at 5 and it's already dark, and you're tired and exhausted, and you can make yourself get to the gym. But even if you don't, even if it's a rest day, regardless of whether you're training or not, just going for that walk will give you your energy back. Like even if it's dark, bundle up, or even walk on the treadmill, do the elliptical, that'll give you energy back to be more productive in the evening hours and to get more out of your day. Because people think to keep forgetting that movement actually gives us energy.
Yep.
And then that energy not only helps us make better decisions, but it just kind of it enhances our lifestyle. And I think people just sometimes lack the not only the discipline but the awareness to just try and see how it goes.
100%. And I think it's partly like people have this notion of like all or nothing, right? Where it's like, well, I can't do an hour walk or an hour workout, so I'm not going to do anything. Where you're right, like little walks will help, even if it's 5 minutes. Go outside and spend time outside for 5 minutes. I promise you'll come back inside and feel better. Like it's just getting away from the screen, getting away from notifications, disconnecting a little bit. It makes a big difference. And as you said, once you start doing something, the one thing that's healthy in your life, whether it's walking every day, that's going to make you feel better, and it's going to trickle into other things. It's going to make you want to eat healthier. It's going to make you want to maybe start strength training, maybe go to sleep a little bit earlier, and then you take care of yourself in other ways. Because once you can hone in on one healthy habit, it usually helps you tackle the other healthy habits instead of trying to do everything at once, which is nearly impossible. Starting with walking. And to everyone in Canada, yes, it's cold, but we have winter jackets. You have toques, you have gloves, like you have boots. Unless it's a really bad snowstorm, you can go outside and walk, even if it's -10. You bundle up, right? The same way you go outside when it's +30 and you're sweating bullets, you can go outside when it's cold. So that's just a little motivational kick for people coming in winter to still get out there and walk. Just bundle up.
Shout out to Sweating Bullets by Megadeth. We're going to throw that over the segment. So I also love that, like in your bio, it says, you help parents over 30 lose weight and gain confidence without strict diets, but extreme workouts too. Maybe you can touch upon that and not, having to kill yourself in the gym.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so the reason that comes about again is because of that all or nothing mentality where most people were doing like a 60-minute arm day and a chest day and a back day and a leg day. And like a mom of 2 doesn't have time for that. To go to the gym 5 days a week for an hour each, even 3 days a week for an hour each is kind of overkill for a lot of parents. And the reason I put extreme workouts is because the problem with fitness and people who don't understand how the body works, and it's not their fault. but they think they need to be sore all the time. They think they need to be like sweating all the time after every workout. They have to be tired. Oh, that workout kicked my ass. And that's not what fitness is about. Like, getting in great shape doesn't mean you go into the gym and kill yourself every time. That's not, it's about making small amounts of progress, getting stronger, moving better, making sure your form is good, and just consistently showing up and doing that work. You know, most moms that I've talked to that I've gotten them away from and working with them is circuit training and boot camp classes and HIIT training all the time. They'd be doing HIIT training 4 or 5 days a week, 6 days a week, wondering why they're having a hard time losing weight, wondering why they're struggling with their nutrition, wondering why they're not sleeping well. All these things, because their stress is through the roof. Like, if you're a mom, you're already stressed out. Like, that goes without saying. You're busy, you're stressed. If you're a working mom, I'd argue even more stressed, because there's another layer to it. If you're adding in a stressful workout routine, like a high stress, high intensity cardio circuits, boot camps, to your already stressful day, you're just adding more stress on top of your day. You're not helping yourself. Your exercise routine, your workout program, whatever you want to call it, should enhance your life, not make it even harder to live it, right? It shouldn't make this big stress ball. You know, you should leave a workout feeling good. You know, I did that. I crushed that. I feel accomplished. Now, at once in a while, yes, it's nice to kind of get your ass kicked in the gym, and that's fine, but it's not about it all the time. And that's where there's a big disconnect, where they feel like they need to be crushed. They need to be sore. And I try to tell them, like, it's not the case. I'd rather you just focus on getting stronger. We need you to build some muscle and some tone anyways. You're not going to do it with 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute HIIT classes. You know, that's just going to make you sweat. And that's not what we're after here.
Yeah, lots of great information so far, a lot to digest for the listeners. So make sure, you know, you're listening to this, you're actually taking some notes, you're writing some things down. We're also going to have some in the show notes. If you check those out, if you listen to the episode and there's anything you want to reference, I'll have timestamps or all the different, you know, key tips we talk about. And then moving on, what else is going on with Strong Jon Fitness? Like, how is it, like, what are your plans with that? Like, into the new year, are you doing any, you know, take on any new clients or doing any new challenges or any more growth for you and your podcast?
Yeah. So, I mean, Strong Jon Fitness is going well. Business over 2021 has been incredible, and I'm extremely grateful for what I have right now. Shout out to Online Trainer Academy Level 2 for help catapulting me in my business. So the last year and a half. In terms of new things coming up, I just wrapped up a new cohort of enrollment. I'm toying with the idea of doing like a 4-week kind of December kind of holiday challenge, if you want to call it. So if you follow me on Instagram at Strong Jon Fitness, keep an eye out for that if I plan to run something like that. Other than that, it's just kind of, you know, taking care of my current clients, posting content every day, helping people, getting on the podcast. I have a ton of guests lined up for the rest of this year. I'm going to have you on in the new year for sure, because I got to get people moving again after the holidays, moving in a great, smart way. And then January, look for, you know, my signature program, the Fit Parent Blueprint, you know, to be updated, to be even better, helping more people, lots more bonuses, lots more touch points with people, and just helping them, you know, losing fat, but keeping the fat off. To me, that's the most important thing, because everyone can lose weight, but most people struggle with keeping it off. So that's where my coaching comes in, to help parents do that, balancing the stressful life that is parenthood with their fitness, with their work. And, you know, I'm a dad. I have an 11-month-old and a 5-year-old and a puppy. So I know all about trying to balance a crazy, stressful house life at sometimes with building a business, with being a dad, with, you know, keeping in shape myself. So I feel like I'm very equipped to help people do that as well.
Yeah, one thing I'm really impressed by is that, you know, your clients graduate and they learn from you, so you don't need to hold their hand forever through the process. Like, you're teaching them everything you know, as opposed to, you know, a trainer who's with his client for 10 years and, you know, they make very minimal progress, whereas you teach your client independence and strategies that it can become that lifestyle shift versus, you know, just, you know, doing a 90-day challenge or working with a trainer for 2 months just to learn how to work out, versus like you're teaching them these principles that they can take long term. And I'm sure your clients are maintaining the results from what they're learning in your program. So shout outs to that.
Appreciate it, brother. Yeah. And I tell everyone on our first call, like, I don't want to be your coach forever. That's not what I'm here for. Like, I want to coach you so I don't have to coach you again, because I want you to do it for yourself. And, you know, if you love the coach and you want to stick around, that's cool. but I want to teach them how to do it, because at the end of the day, that's part of the issue. Is there's a ton of misinformation. It's my job to help people avoid that and stick to what they need instead of all the other crap that's surrounding them.
100%. It's so great to have you on, John, and make sure you check him out on Instagram at Strong Jon Fitness. He's got a great page there. Nice post. Lots of big bicep flexing, lots of donuts. And he's a fun guy. Even if you want to chat or learn more about the program or connect with him on his show, I believe it's Strong Jon Fitness on all the podcast networks as well. It's been great to have you here. If there's anything else you want to share with the listeners, how they can apply to work with you, or how they can best connect, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me on the podcast. I really do enjoy talking about this kind of stuff, because again, I know a lot of people need help with it. Honestly, Instagram is the fastest way to reach me. If you're interested in a program, just DM me. If you're interested, just follow me, checking out the content. My podcast goes out every Wednesday, Strong Jon Fitness Podcast, and that's about it. I'm just here to kind of help people avoid the BS, get in great shape, enjoy some donuts while they do so, and balance time with their kids.
Awesome, man. Great having you. And remember what they say, own your fucking life. Let's go. All right, we've been sitting for about an hour, so we're going to go do some mobility. Thanks again for listening. And if you enjoyed this show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and share with a friend who would benefit from the episode. Until next time, we're out.